welcome back to the podcast. Hello, I am Shayru Nazir, and this is the Container Chats podcast. I've got my co-host, Adam Ponting.
What's going on, guys? Here we are, our very own podcast. We finally got ourselves together, and we're finally here. We've had a few stumbles, and we'll talk about that in a bit. We also got Sasha here today. He's kind of behind the camera. We don't have a camera on him. Oh, he can, wave there. Thank you so much for being here, man, and helping us out with this.
We've been thinking about this idea for a while now about having a podcast with me and Adam for a few months, and we've recorded a few pilot episodes, and they gave us a fair bit of experience. We did have some issues with some bad commitment with some flaky peoples and some tech issues, but through experience we preserved it. We preserved to rethink ways to get our podcast rolling in a palatable and interesting manner. So we decided, me, Adam, we're going to be the co-host, and right now our technician, the great Sasha over here, he's been a great help so far.
It really goes to show how much time, effort, and commitment, especially, goes into something like this.
It really does.
Yeah, you're going to see on our first episode, things are a bit different than the format we're going to have going forward. We had Taryn helping us out with tech, behind the laptop, and Jonathan doing his own funny segment at the end.
You'll love it.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. But now Taryn is off doing a placement in the hospital up in the Highlands, and Jonathan is doing who knows what in Italy. We had to change things up. But the silver lining of losing those two is that we had now Sasha, and you now have him helping us, and I love this dude so much. I met him relatively recently, in the past few months, and he's such a funny, nice, dependable guy. I mean that, man.
He really is,
And exactly what we need, especially the dependable part, as we came to realize with Taryn, Jonathan.
Exactly, especially as we had to rethink the way we do this podcast. We had to design it with people who were ready to commit, who had a fair bit of understanding of technology and all that, and Sasha's the man.
Yeah,
so here we are.
Do you have any feelings about this podcast?
I mean, the two hosts are absolutely amazing people. Adam made me pancakes for breakfast this morning. I mean, how great is that? And then Shez, I mean, he's been the mastermind behind all this. He's really got everyone together, whipped everyone into shape.
It's a really good way to describe this guy.
I'm the one holding the whip.
Yeah, and so do you want to
start? So let's start with how do we come up with this idea for a podcast. So this is kind of like a passion project for us. We've been thinking about this for quite a while. So I got my camera, the one you're looking at right now, which is the Sony A7 Mark II. I got this back in March. I got a grant with my university, so I decided this would be the best time. So I started off with basic photography and all that, but with Adam and, my other friend, we decided it would be quite cool. We started a podcast, or more creative projects, media, putting our stuff online on YouTube and whatnot. So I think a podcast is a great way, get to know us, get to know the people around us, and it'll be very interesting, very unique.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've never personally been into photography and art and all that stuff. Going back, I really haven't done any art in my life, or I gave it up when I was a young fucking lad. But I definitely share Shez's excitement for this podcast and what we intend to do. I love the idea of diving into the experiences and opinions of all the interesting people around us. As well as simply just recording something. So we have something we can look back on. And also just creating content. We wanted to be creative in this summertime that we have between years of university. Also as weird as to say, I love to conversate. I love to learn through having conversations and just learning through people. And this is an absolute minefield for that kind of thing.
I completely agree. It's about the unique and interesting experiences about in the day to day, the ordinary person. I feel like most people have some sort of story to tell, and I believe some of the great stories can and about drama and intrigue can come from just anybody really. Now the container part of this podcast, now that's a bit of a weird fact of I have a container in my garden.
Yeah.
So it's a shipping container on the outside, but within the inside, as you can see, it's furnished. It looks quite nice, and
you would never have thought it. Like it's amazing.
Yeah, and it kind of became a bit of a meme within our friend group because we would all come over here and we'd have like some gatherings and sessions and all that. So a lot of good times have happened here. So that's where this is where the idea of the podcast was conceived. So it just seemed natural. We put a lot of effort into the redesign of this place. We put a fair bit of time into it. It didn't look nearly as nice as this before. We will also hopefully have a private garden right behind us. Me and Adam are currently working on that, getting that like done, artificial grass, get the soil on.
It's been fun. It's been fun doing that.
It'd be fun. We've been chopping down trees, becoming lumber axemen.
Axemen. I like that. That's better than lumberjacks.
And so hopefully we'll have a private garden that we can record outside segments in the future.
Yeah. Getting on to how we actually met. I think that's probably the best place to start. I think it's safe to say that both of us had a somewhat kind of mixed experience before we met each other in S5. In English equivalent, that's first year of sixth form. And but as soon as we did, things got really fun and really wacky. For me, I grew up in a different town to Edinburgh, where this is currently based in. I grew up in Oxford, and I had friends in Oxford that were very nerdy and very introverted. Not to say we don't have those sides of us, but they weren't really up for doing too much besides that. So when I met Shares and the rest of our group, who really resonated with my energy, we all, and especially us two, became inseparable. And really
of course, absolutely, I agree. So we both became pretty tight together initially with music. You know what, Adam? The first time me and Adam properly hang out, he came to my to this container, and we were blasting music on this speaker right here.
Oh my God.
Just blasting EDM music. It was great, and we were like, "Whoa, look at this music!" and we would bond over that and everything. It was honestly amazing, and like back then, high school was a simple time. We at this time, we've never been to parties or done anything crazy. Nothing more than like nerdy, slightly unique teens, but like not long after our meeting, shit got wild, and our friend group reached a new level of wackiness. It all started with Halloween. That was our first ever party. But we'll get back to that later. I remember going up to Blackford Hill and Adam bringing a bottle of water, and nobody would believe him, but it had gin in it. But we had a lot in common, from video games to some deeper chats, ideological beliefs, etc. We were both opposites and the same at the same time.
Yeah, we often joke, about this, but it is true. I sincerely believe that we are like two sides of the same coin. We share a lot of similarities. We have stark differences. And it's difficult to kind of like quantify our personalities, but I think a good way to explain it, like that metaphor, is that I'm more of a yes man, and I guess Shayru is more of a no man, and we balance each other out in that way, and we kind of learn from each other when in that kind of like aspect.
So, leading on from that, let's talk more about us and our plans. So, as we stated before, we're currently uni students, drudging through our degree, with Adam being in his final years, starting next term, and me being in my second of 4 years into my degree.
So my skills have, they've always leaned towards logic and maths, like just in terms of like base. And when I was choosing my university to go to, and further studies just in general, I was like, well, what can I do with those skills? Because I just want to do to make the most positive change with what I can do. And the obvious answer to me was computing, because maths always to me was more theoretical. And so and on top of that, I chose to narrow that scope down initially to computer forensics, because I thought that would be like the most positive way that I could use my skills. Well, that kind of changed. At the end of my first year, I realised that that degree was computer forensics, was literally like a stepping stone to working with the police, and I felt like I could do something more positive than what that would entail. Therefore, I decided to kind of restart university with a general kind of computer science degree, and cross my fingers that in time I would discover a way to apply my computer science skills and make a positive change with them. And yeah, now, so I'm going into final years, as Shayru said. And time is kind of running out to figure all that out. You know, I feel like everyone can relate to that. But you know, I'm interested in, at the moment. I will say that I'm interested in doing something with computer science that would create a positive change in the areas of the environment or the community. And I have some ideas, but I don't want to mention them just yet because I haven't really fleshed them out. So yeah. And you.
Yeah, so before I took my course in university, I had a decent idea of what I wanted to do further in my life. With my love of computing and technology and an interesting pathway of engineering, I saw an interesting pathway into engineering and getting into the real fundamentals of what makes electronics tick. It just seemed natural to me, but it was not easy to get into. But my passion for learning and technology among various other topics, But with passion and learning about technology among various other topics, I was excited to begin, but with passing time, with other knowledge and maturity, I came to conflict with my subjects, as I had passions in other fields like history, anthropology, philosophy, and videography, which made me reconsider where my future lay. For now, engineering degree is my first step, but making a presence online with this podcast and a personal channel about topics I find interesting and other ideas in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like just that is, you know, one of the things that's different between me and you. You know, it's definitely something that I admire about you, man, because, you know, this dude has so many different areas of interest, and especially with, like, history. I feel like I've learned as much from him about history as I have, like, at school, like, at all. So yeah, whereas, you know, in comparison, I usually just focus on one or two things at one time. You know, and I find it difficult to kind of engage with, like, non-fiction besides my course. And I need, like, a discipline of a course and something else to make me engage. So yeah, but you know, I guess either things come with positives and negatives. So yeah.
Yeah, although we do have different interests, we have a lot of things that we admire of each other. I respect and admire Adam's determination and work ethic. He enjoys to have fun and has wacky antics just as much as anybody.
Yeah.
But he works so incredibly hard, and he's been a cornerstone so far to this podcast and other projects. But speaking of antics, let's give you a bit of a rundown into some of our antics.
So we kind of alluded and, you know, said a few things about the antics, but you know, just give you guys a general idea about what we would get up to. You know, so we would often go up hills in the, you know, infamous Scottish weather, and release all our mania, which, you know, is just bubbling up when you're that age.
Yeah.
And, you know, this was also helped by something called alcohol. So especially as our parents were terrified of letting more than one of us into, like, their house, our group often ended up, like, up a hill just seshing. You know, to give a glimpse into the life of session, the first time I seshed with this lot, including Shayru, we were up Blackford Hill in some cave, you know, dead of night, dead of winter, as Shayru said earlier, a water bottle full of gin, and, you know, with our teenage hormones in full force. One of the girls there was giving out lap dances, but most of the boys were too anxious to accept. It was just like, you know, kind of chaos. Yeah.
One of the most notable Bendy Wendy sessions that we have recorded was the infamous sesh on Crags.
Yeah.
I'll show you a little bit of that, actually.
Comments and photos, and also to say Bendy Wendy's, you probably, like, just kind of, like, heard that there and do not know any context behind it. That's the name of our group. It's a really weird backstory to the name. We won't go into it, but that's the name of our group. Just keep that in mind.
We are the Bendy Wendy's.
We are the Bendy Wendy's.
So yeah, over here we can just see a few of the photos of, like,
glorious,
just Adam going down off his seat, you know.
Yeah, we took this, like, swivel chair up like the biggest, you know, central mountain in Edinburgh. It was,
and then we threw it down the mountain.
Yeah, it was the craziest thing. You know, and we were also, like, racing on it. Like,
yeah, we got a photo of here of the bean just, you know, dragging along the mountain.
Oh, it's such an awesome photo. Looks like on the actual journey.
It was beautiful, you know.
Yeah.
It was a great time.
Yeah.
You know, over here we've got Damien, our good Polish friend.
Yeah, he's very wacky. And just shout out, as you can see here, shout out to Edinburgh and Arthur C. Like, it's really beautiful. When
honestly,
it's
such a beautiful city we have here.
Yeah, we're all, like, very grateful to be here because, wow, look at that.
God damn. But yeah, so back to what we were doing earlier.
When we weren't up in a hill, you know, we were often like right here in this container. This is definitely like a frequent place. You know, and I forget, like, Shez, like, how did this container even, like, come about?
Okay, so, like, the history of the container started back in, like, 2016. So my dad was, like, good friends with a construction manager, and his name was Brian, and he like, renovated our house a couple of times. One day, he called my dad with an offer of a really cheap furnished container. Like, not furnished as in, like, stuff inside of it, but, like, there's, like, walls in it. There was, like a room and shit, so... You know, we accepted it, and the guy came in, brought like what's that thing called, a crane? He brought a crane down and put like a container into a garden, and for the first little while, it was used for like storage and whatnot for the family. But then my older brother, he thought about an idea of making this place into a studio, which was pretty class for quite a while. We had DJ decks, we had a massive speaker. You know, that's how we used to jam out. That's when you first came into the container. But you know, as we got older and we wanted to have a bit more fun, bring some people over, it became more of a, how do we say, a den.
A man cave.
Exactly.
To be honest, a man container.
So. And so you know, we would just blast music all through the night, play video games, and nobody would care. But then my brother went to Thailand for a year, and I went to university. So the container went into a bit of a disarray. But you know, with the pandemic and everything, I came back to Edinburgh, and Adam came back from Lancaster, and so we decided to, you know, bring this place back up, you know, with a podcast. So we designed it, put a few months into it. And as you can see, now it's beautiful.
I mean, you know, the pandemic obviously like shook everyone's lives up. And like what we've done with the container now and like the whole podcast, you know, I'm really glad we've done it. Because we're just trying to, you know, occupy our time and do really good things with it. And this is a perfect place to do it. Like, I'm really excited to embark on this journey.
Hopefully we have a lot more podcasts in the future, and you know, this is our beginning. Not really our first episode, but it's one of our pilot episodes, and I'm really happy that we got here, you know.
I mean, we really enjoyed filming the first episode, because we filming this after that. With Rachel, and you know, you guys are going to see a bit about that soon. It's really good. And we're looking forward to, just after this, we're going to be filming the next podcast after that with my sister. We're looking forward to that.
We're doing that same day, actually. We're doing that later tonight.
Literally straight after this.
And we have quite a few people in the future in mind. So a lot of interesting personalities, people with stories to tell. So I'm quite excited about that. Of course, this podcast you're seeing right now is going to be quite a short one, but in the future they'll all be a lot longer. So tune in and tell us what you think in the comments below.
Please give us feedback, because you know we've never like really made anything before. This is like just us kind of, you know, just experimenting.
Just, you know, throwing what we have out into the
being creative.
open. I'm really excited, but that's all for today. I've been Shayru Nazir. This is Adam Ponting. This is Sasha. Thank you so much.
Can I just say, Ponting is not my surname. It's Ponting, but we'll just pretend it's Ponting.
It is Ponting, but we just got Ponting. And we have Sasha over here. What's your second name?
Halfundle.
How fun.
We'll call him Sasha. We'll just call him Sasha for now. But thank you for joining us on the Container Chats podcast, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Right.
See ya.